ready for state championships in Tallahassee. And at Ken Riley Field at Bragg Memorial Stadium on the campus of Florida A&M University, state championships, all 9 classifications. And this is an interview that I always look forward to when I get to talk to the head coach of the Mainland Buccaneers, the one and only Travis Roland, in his 3rd year there as the Mainland Buccaneers head coach. And the Buccaneers are going to their 2nd straight championship game under Coach Roland. And Coach, appreciate you taking a few minutes of your busy schedule.
Absolutely.
I know it's a busy week. It's also a short week considering the turnaround time from playing from Friday to having to play for a state championship on Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock against St. Augustine, who's just right up the road on I-95. And Coach,
we should have been at Flagler.
Yeah, I know. You could just say, hey, let's have a mid-neutral site game in Palm Coast.
Yes, sir.
But nonetheless, Coach, congratulations on getting to the state championship game once more here. And Coach, I know y'all are looking for the school's first state championship since 2003, excuse me. That was when you were playing your high school football, 2003. And I mean, that's a long time ago. And, for you, what would it be for you in the sense if you get to win the state championship this year? How does that come full circle for you, not only as a former player but a coach?
I think first of all, thank you guys for having us on. We appreciate it. As I always say, anytime we get the opportunity to talk about our program, the Mainland High School football program, it's a great opportunity. So thank you for having this platform, allowing us here. But it'll mean a lot. I told the guys all the time, being a parent and watching, your son or your daughter. Like watching my daughter qualify for nationals last Friday was amazing, and it's a better feeling sometimes. And it's a better feeling than watching yourself achieve stuff. So, being like I'm a coach, but I'm my player's parent at the time. I know that watching them be able to fulfill their dream and the hard work pay off, it's going to be an amazing feeling. Like I tell them all the time, man, 20 years ago is a long time ago. Our team needs somebody else to talk with and to talk to about what it feels like to win a state championship. So, it's time. And I'm going to be unbelievably happy for these kids because the pain and agony we went through last year now to get to this point is beyond amazing. And it wasn't fun. So to watch us get to this point is the amazing thing that's happened. And so we're excited about it.
I mean, the excitement is there, and of course, I know y'all kind of wanted that revenge factor on Lake Wells, but Vanguard took care of them in the playoffs, and y'all took care of Vanguard here in the state semifinals. But let's kind of look back here on the season so far. I mean, when it comes to tight and tough ball games, y'all have been, in those games except that Lake Mary game. And I want to focus on that Lake Mary game because I feel like that game kind of gave y'all the wake up call y'all needed here to go into the playoffs. Is that what it was for y'all at that point, that, getting shut out at home on the last game of the regular season to go into the play?
I told everybody this. We didn't play well by any stretch. But, man, that game falls squarely on us as coaches. Like I said, Lake Mary did some things that in our time of playing them here in Mainland, defensively they had never done before. And so we weren't prepared for some things that they did. We didn't have some checks in there and that game made us create those checks. I knew leaving that game, I think people thought I had a fake smile on my face after the game was over, but I knew that there's some places where we weren't prepared for something. And I knew that with the way our defense played, because at the end of the day, that kid was 5 of 22. That was his worst statistical game against anybody. Us and Mandarin held him to the worst statistical game he had all year. Their offense, 3 of the passes happened to be for touchdowns, but 5 of 22 for 117, you hold Noah Grubbs to, that's a great day. You're supposed to win that game. So I knew our defense was prepared for anything and everything from an offensive perspective. We had to fix some stuff offensively, like I said, that we didn't have taken care of coaching wise. And I was glad it happened in week 11. I was like, at least we got a reprieve to where we can fix it. And then people have tried to duplicate what Lake Mary did, but because now we have some automatic checks in our offense, we don't have those same problems. And it also admits to have a personnel change with how we start a football game. So it was a lesson learned, man. Wins and learns. I know it sounds cliche to say, but we learned a lot in that game. And if you go back and look at it, we gave up, I think, 10 points to our special teams in offense, allowed them to score twice. So, and you take away a couple of other things, and that game's a totally different football game. So that's what we learned from that game. Some big things. I say everybody thinks they can duplicate that. We played horrible. We coached bad and played bad. So that's something that we tend to think won't happen again.
Now, and looking at that, of course, the closest ball game y'all have had so far in the playoffs here was in the regional semifinals against Rockledge, but the regional finals, state semifinals, was able to take care of business, and of course now here lands y'all here in the state championship game, and of course that doesn't happen without the plethora of talent that you've got sitting here, especially in your 2024 guys that are all over the field. Of course, you got defensive lineman LJ McCray, a 5-star prospect committed to Florida. I mean, he's been having a heck of a season. I mean, 77 total tackles, 37 tackles for loss, 13 sacks, which is tied for the team lead. I mean, LJ is like if you know, we'll talk offense in a moment, but if it's anything, y'all's defense has been what has helped y'all win a lot of these ball games this year.
Absolutely.
And I mean, LJ's been that star for you that you needed him to be.
Mainland's been built that way forever. The great teams that I played on, had the privilege to be on the teams back in the late 90s. They were defensive driven. The teams we had here with Coach Wilson was the head coach, defensive driven. And that's just been that way forever. I think now what people are seeing, in this class 24, when all these kids were sophomores, they were babies. And, we took our drubbings. We went 5-5 in that first year, 21 they were sophomores, and everybody had us written off. And I think that now the work that these guys have put in is what's being overlooked. Everybody's praising them. Oh, 5-star, 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 4-star, and all this kind of stuff. But I think, man, the work these guys have put in has been amazing. People thought LJ was going to be just some big, soft player that went Division I because he was just big. And now he's turned to this dominant force, and everybody wants to praise him. I think that's why he's played so well, though, is because he remembers where we came from and where he started as a sophomore. Zay remembers, where he started as a sophomore and where he's come from. Ramon McCullough remembers when he was a sophomore, where he's come from. So many of these guys remember where we started at, and then to get to this point now over these last 2 years, they want their hard work. People know they worked hard to become the players that they've become. But LJ's been amazing, man. There's been times this year he's been unblockable, and he's fought through some nagging pains and just regular football stuff, but stuff that's bothered him a little bit. He's fought through it. Doesn't complain. It was crazy because he's just one of the guys you'd never know it. That he was this 5-star kid because of how he is personality wise. But he's been a driving force for us. He's played inside. He's played outside. He's pass rushed. He's been a run stuffer at times too. And I think he's shown that he's the best defensive player in the country. I know there's other guys out there, but when you look at the film and when they've put 4- and 5-star guys in front of him, he's killed them and had great success with them. And I think, he's worked himself into being the number 1 player in the country for both sides of the ball.
I mean, you talk about that. You talk about Xavier. You talk about Rodney Hill. Looking at it, you got Isaiah Shine. I just go down the list here, and
Myron,
you got
Tank,
Myron Schaefer. We're talking getting into the 2025 guys. And then Christian Hudson. Your guys have just literally been balling this year on defense. If we start counting the number of sacks and the number of tackles, it's off the charts.
It's funny because people watch the tape and they see LJ, and then that's what I said. And there's Ramon over there, and then some may argue, and I'll argue, Christian Hudson might be the most dominant of everybody. He controls it. He's a nose guard man that controls it, plays both ways. That's why you've seen some of us tweet about him being the Travis Hunter of high school football because he plays offensive line for us. He dominates there, and all he does is get a squirt of water, and then goes right back on the field and plays nose guard and dominates there too. So, you'd forget somebody sometimes with the way this defense is played when you start naming names. But that our defensive line, our linebackers, those 2 corners out there are amazing football players. And I think that, that's the best part about this group, that they've all meshed really well. I'll tell people in a heartbeat, our unsung hero is our nickel guy, DJ Noellen, number 28. He plays nickel for us. He's in the box, out the box, playing man, playing zone, blitzing off the edge. He's been very versatile for us. So we've been blessed on defense, man. Those kids have played great football. Like I said, everybody works really, really well in tandem. Whether it's HUD moving out defensive end so LJ can play inside, whether it's HUD moving to a 3 technique to let Ramon be the tilt, whatever it is, those guys have been dominant, and they like being dominant together. Nobody really cares about who it is. They play with a ferociousness when they're out there, and I think it's a great thing that our coaches, man. A lot of people don't know We had some coaching change late in the year on our staff with 2 guys getting some great opportunities, and Coach Chip Smith going to become the director of marketing for the CIAA conference, and Coach Snap Wood going over to Warner to be the running back coach. And so Ethan Simpson and Maurice Lower stepped up to coordinate, co-coordinate our defense. And those guys did an amazing job not missing a beat on defense.
No, absolutely, and that's a huge. And let's talk about offense. I mean, when we're looking at the offensive stats here, I mean, I know sometimes it doesn't look pretty, but hey, at the end of the day, if it's what you got to do is what you got to do on the field. And but DJ Murray, I mean, when I was looking at it, I'm like, well, wait a second, why is he not even 3-star? How's he not even there in the stars? But 123 or 223 passing for 1359 on yards, but also rushing as well. So when you need DJ to do something, it's not just, hey, I'm going to throw it down the field. Hey, if I need you to get out there and run it, he's going to run it.
Yep. So, that's the thing. And we made sure we didn't fall into that trap when we're getting ready for Sebring. I think everybody likes to see the sexy football. Everybody wants to see the long bombs. They want to see, all the big time, screen plays where somebody shakes 6 people and goes and scores. Sometimes you just got to be able to win a football game and play good football. And that's what DJ's done all year long. Be it making good decisions in the passing game, be it being electric in the run game. We've been very creative with how we've attacked people in our running game with our passing game, which, you've seen our passing game come along every single week here in the playoffs because of how people want to play us, because we're making you play football in the phone booth, and then we make you give us the one-on-one matchups out on the edge, and we've been able to win some of those with some of our receivers out there. And DJ's been, when I say spot on throwing the football over probably the last 7 weeks of the season, he's been spot on throwing the football. I think that's just been our calling card this year is running the football. We brought back a lot of our offensive linemen this year, so that was we knew we were going to be in that 60-40 range anyways coming into the year just because of how we were made up. People don't realize we lost 2,700 yards receiving between James and Ajay, to graduation and transfer from last year. So, of course, it was going to look different coming into this year when you got the size and experience we have on the offensive line. Why not lean on those guys? Why try to be like everybody else and throw the ball around a bunch? Nobody cared when Miami Central was winning all those championships and it was trap left and trap right. And trust me, we know all about that, when they were doing it. So we're just glad that, we were able to find our calling card, be able to have receivers that understand every opportunity, right, as a big opportunity. And Clarence McLeod has been our leader at receiver. He was the leader receiver coming back. He's the one we've trusted all year. He leads us in catches again, and that's just kind of how it's been. And then now, the other guys have come along. Tyree Weatherspoon has stepped up over the last few weeks to give us a big vertical target. Philip Moore has stepped up. And then obviously Manny Weisel and Marquise McCants were our steady hands in the beginning of the year. And now, the group is growing and becoming more versatile as we continue to grow.
No, absolutely, and of course you got Kamani Robinson, who leads your rushing yards and just over a little 1,000 yards rushing right there. But Coach, when we're looking ahead to this game with St. Augustine, St. Augustine, they're in their first state championship game since 2007. So this is a battle. Somebody's going to win a state championship for the first time in a long time here, right, come Thursday afternoon. And what is it about St. Augustine that probably you have to prepare for the most? What is it that you've seen about the Yellow Jackets that you're like, okay, this is what we've really got to key in on in order to win this ball game?
Well, obviously, they've got 3 guys they spread the ball around to really, really well at receiver. All 3 of those guys they get the ball to. One guy leads in catches, but there's another guy that leads in touchdowns. And so it's one of those things where, like, which one is more important? Is it the touchdown guy, or is it the guy that kind of sets up that stuff to be able to get those guys in those positions to score touchdowns? Then obviously they got the 4-year starter at running back, Lyons. I coached against him when I was at FPC when he was a freshman. So he's been a good player forever. And then the quarterback is he's one of the I don't know how many committed quarterbacks are coming into the state championship, but he's one of them. And then he's an ACC commit, so a Power 5 football player. So that's something you got to be prepared for and ready for. We play a lot of really good quarterbacks this year, and then their coaching staff does a really good job. Coach Braddock has always had good coaching staffs and good teams, even when he was at Mandarin coaching. So I think that we just got to be prepared to play a good football game. Luckily for us, we've played really good football teams all year long. Whether it's DeLand, Bartram, Rains, West Broward, Lake Mineola, Rockledge, Sebring. We played a lot of really good. Ocala Vanguard, obviously, who put up 50-something points on Lake Wales, who nobody saw that coming. So we played some really good football teams. And I think that we're going to be prepared for it. But St. August definitely more than a worthy opponent, and it's going to be a war out there. We expect nothing less. We're ready for a fight.
No, absolutely. And of course, that fight will come at 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon in the Class 3S state championship game at Ken Riley Field at Bragg Memorial Stadium on the campus of Florida A&M University. And Coach, for you, how do you feel about going to a place like Bragg? That's got a lot of historical, notes about it. For a program that's the historical HBCU.
Well, I'm a proud Bethune-Cookman University graduate and former football player and captain. So I am looking forward to going to Bragg to spread some of this Wildcat joy and love.
Got to rub it in just a little bit. I see how it is.
But if having to go to Bragg to win a state championship is what it takes for this Wildcat, I will be forever grateful to Florida A&M University for opening their doors for us to have the opportunity to win a state championship. But no, man, anytime you get to go into an HBCU campus, it's always a blessing. I tell people all the time, I would never trade my HBCU experience for nothing in the world. Bethune-Cookman made me proud to be who I am, proud of my heritage, and then just Coach Wyatt, taking a chance on me. So anytime you get to go to an HBCU stadium, it's a great opportunity, and you'll be able to feel the thickness and the richness of the HBCU culture oozing from the highest of 7 hills, as they say, at Florida A&M.
No, absolutely. And Coach Roland, appreciate your time. I know you got to get back out there, get your boys ready for Thursday afternoon, and we'll see you in Tallahassee for the Class 3 state championship game against St. Augustine, 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon at Bragg Memorial Stadium. Appreciate it, Coach, and good luck.
Thank you. But pride never dies.
All right. That was Travis Roland, the head coach of the Mainland Buccaneers, joining us here on FloydHSFootball.com. We have more. Stay tuned right here on FloydHSFootball.com for previews and more on the 2023 state championships from Tallahassee.